Hello and welcome. This is your Wish Upon a Star Lunar Horoscope for Monday, May 3rd, 2021. The last quarter moon will be voyaging through the sign of Aquarius the water bearer, bringing self-governance, rarity, philanthropy, sophistication, enjoyment, as well as a vivacious enthusiasm. The last quarter moon is a waning half moon, and during this May 2021 cycle, the decreasing half moon will be occurring while the moon is transiting through the 25th mansion of the moon. And that's going to be at 7:50 p.m. and we're using universal time coordinated and tropical astrology. Luna's activation of lunar mansion number 25 during a waning half moon at 50% light is potent for performing receptive magic spells and rituals. Mansion of the moon number 25 is in effect from mid-morning of May 3rd, that's at 10:45 a.m. until the mid-morning of May 4th at 10:10 a.m. With the waning half moon occurring in Aquarius at 7:50 p.m., lunar mansion number 25 is magically activated at the exact time of the last quarter moon in Aquarius. I'm Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel. I'm a Rosicrucian seer, biblical astrologer, Christian psychic, and Gnostic mystic, and this is a Readings by Rosemary angelic transmission. Luna will be in Aquarius from 8 degrees 34 minutes and 17 seconds to Aquarius 21 degrees 25 minutes and 40 seconds according to Abraham. Those are the parameters according to Abraham. The stars to wish upon inside the 25th mansion of the moon, Al-Saad, Al-Abia, are named Sadalachbia and Sadalmelek, that dwell in the right hand of Aquarius, being the lucky star of hidden things. According to Warnock, this asked the angel of Gamma Aquarii and Alpha Aquarii, who is named Aziel, to guard any crops and orchards you wish to protect from evil or from trouble. Sorceresses and sorcerers create representations of armies taking over towns, also getting retribution against adversaries and also competitors, and causing harm to come to them, to break up marriages, to communicate rapidly and send messages and texts rapidly, to obliterate yields and orchards, and to cause also impotency, and to restrain portions of an organism from performing their tasks, to fortify detainment centers, and also to sturdy structures and buildings. Magicians also use Al-Saad Al-Abia to form renderings depicting a human embedding a plant in soil to cultivate and secure produce, which helps when requesting this from Aziel. Agrippa discloses that mansion of the moon number 25 is named Sadalabra or Sadalachbia, meaning butterfly or spreading forth, like the butterfly wings spreading forth. Agrippa also reveals that for the conservation of trees, orchards, and also crop yields, that ancient magicians engraved into a wood sculpture the emblem of a man embedding a sapling tree or shrub into the soil. Then they scented the talisman with the flora of a fig tree. And finally hung the charm on the trees, one of the trees or one of the plants that they did wish to nurture and to cultivate. The entire plantation would then become fruitful from this. According to Kabbalistic lore, Aquarius is ruled by Saturn and Uranus. Aquarius Birthstone is amethyst. Rosaries and amulets using amethyst for Aquarius are magically potent for this praxis. Kabbalistic and alchemical planetary associations, in this instance of a waning half moon in Aquarius whilst transiting through lunar mansion number 25, could be utilized with perfumes, essential oils, herbs, or flowers, as well as colors. And that would be these things corresponding to Aquarius and to also to the planets of Saturn and Uranus, if you so desire. We're going to focus here on the metals and the materials and the stones to make talismans with. The planetary alchemical metal in this case would indicate lead for Saturn and uranium for Uranus. Now, the warning is here that both lead and uranium are toxic, with uranium also being radioactive. Therefore, the absorption or the ingestion of these metals can lead to either lead poisoning or to radiation sickness. Therefore, neither lead nor uranium are realistic, nor are they workable for this operation by common persons. Lead should only be handled by those that possess the knowledge and the skill to do so. Uranium should only be handled by individuals with the knowledge, talent, and the licensing to do so. Agrippa also mentions that for Mansion of the Moon number 25, the ancients traditionally made a wood emblem of the rendering of a human inserting a plant or tree into the earth. This icon was created as a magical talisman for the Mansion of the Moon Sadalachbia, also named Sadalachbia or Sadalachbia, for the explicit purpose of causing the preservation of shrubs and trees. It's important to note here that according to Vivian Irwood Robson, author of the book The Fixed Stars and Constellations in Astrology, Ptolemy gives the precise planetary attributes of Saturn and Mercury to the star Sadalmelek, which is located specifically on the right shoulder of the water bear, in regards to the planetary nature of this area of the constellation of Aquarius, the water bear. The star Sadalachbia is located in the right hand of Aquarius, which is not specifically mentioned by Ptolemy, although the Greek astronomer does say that the left hand has the qualities of Saturn and Mercury. As we have already mentioned earlier, the alchemical metal of lead is associated with Saturn and is toxic. And this is neither usable nor is it sensible for this praxis. Regarding the alchemical metal of quicksilver, which is associated with Mercury, the planet Mercury, and quicksilver, yes, is also called Mercury. This liquid metal, because it's at room temperature, we can't work with it, in this format because it's at a liquid state. So this liquid metal of mercury or quicksilver is also neither workable nor is it usable for this operation, since it also has a toxicity warning and can cause mercury poisoning. Since neither lead nor mercury are neither realistic nor feasible for this function of fashioning magical talismans, another material must be considered. Amethyst being the gemstone of choice, best suited for use as rosary beads, amulet ornamentations, and jewelry gems for Aquarian association with the lunar mansion Sadalachbia must be affixed to the magical talismans with a metal which fulfills the purpose of the protection of orchards. And so this is where you might want to throw up your hands at this point, but we have some solutions for you here. Since the star Sadalachbia, let me say that again. Since the star Sadalachbia is a necessary star to work with, as well as Sadalmelek, you got to use them both. Since Sadalachbia is a celestial body with a green hue, a green tint to it, the Venusian metal of copper might be considered by magicians. Copper turns into a green tainted patina when exposed to air. Keep in mind, however, that Venus is not the planetary selection for this mansion. It's not. It is only one possibility that this author thinks is worth bearing in mind if you want to try to use a metal along with the amethyst, and Venus and copper is something that could be associated with the preservation of trees. Now, that's just in our way of thinking. Again, neither Agrippa, nor Warnock, nor the Imperatrix, nor Ptolemy say that Venus should be associated. Just something that we thought might be helpful for this function of trying to preserve trees and fruitful plants. Now, enchanters should select a metal that best fits within the magical frequencies which are in alignment with the aim of the magician, because there are other things that we mentioned that you can do with this mansion besides just the preservation of trees, which we've already mentioned. If you want to go over that again, you can either back up the video, or in the description box we have our blog where you can find all the information and you can study it more clearly there. And also there are recommendations of books you can utilize, and the page numbers are also for some of the their recommendations are there for you to use. Now, since Agrippa mentions and recommends that the material of wood is as being the correct material to use when creating a talisman to make agricultural farms fruitful, a rosary, an amulet, and even a bracelet or a necklace, made of wood, are some excellent possibilities to consider when using, to use and to work with for creating such talismans as we've just talked about. Okay, so you can make wooden rosaries, yes, and you can make talismans and amulets out of wood, and you can make beads and necklaces out of wood as well. You can also use some twine with it and things like that as well, and some gemstones. So we just want to keep that in mind. But you might want to use fake gemstones, because if you're going to use wood and twine, because you wouldn't want to lose your precious metals. Okay, I mean your precious gemstones or your amethysts. Excuse me. You wouldn't want to lose those, or your precious metals for that matter. Now keep in mind that the number assigned to each mansion of the moon may vary reliant upon both the cultural and the astrological attributes of the system being used. What pinpoints the exact lunar mansion to which we are referring is made clear by the use of the star to be wished upon, as well as by the name of the indicated mansion of the moon. Other Kabbalistic correspondences for lunar mansion number 25 are as follows. Moon in Aquarius. Luna gives the water bearer a worldly quality, as well as altruism, sovereignty, and exceptionality. The water bearer is also the life of the party at any gathering, and is therefore a delight to have around. Planetary archangel for Luna, or the moon, is Gabriel. God is my strength, power of God, and messenger of God. A messenger of God, because Raphael is the messenger of God, where Gabriel is a messenger of God, but mostly the power of God. And God is my strength is the quality for the planetary archangel for Luna, or the moon, Gabriel. Zodiac angel for Aquarius is Cambriel, whose divine tone is I know. Tarot card for Luna or the moon is the High Priestess card. Here, the High Priestess sitting between the pillars of Joachim and Boaz, with the crescent receptive moon at her feet, with the waters of life and the consciousness of God flowing over her and through the receptive moon. And also she has the pomegranates behind her, and she wears the triple crown of the moon upon her head for the triple goddess crown. And she has a cross upon her chest, and she holds the Torah scroll within her hand. It says Torah on that scroll. And if you remember in Int'l, it said in the beginning, picture books for women and scripture and textbooks for men. That's because the logic of the left brain and the creativity of the right brain are also mirrored. Whereas you read about the Kabbalah in Torah, you also understand the Kabbalah through tarot cards, which is the Torah in picture form. And also the High Priestess card is associated with the moon, which is why we're showing it to you. Also, it is associated with the Hebrew letter Gimel, which means camel, and is the path to the higher self and to the crown chakra and the Sephirah of Kether, the top supernal. Also, you can associate with this, you can go into your Bible and you can go to Psalm 119 in Psalms, Psalm 119. You can go to the third letter down is Gimel, Aleph, Beth, Gimel, and that will be a Bible verse you can use for the moon and for the High Priestess card. Now, the musical note in the ancient Western array for the moon or Luna is F, and we're going to play that for you now. That's F, that's the healing note for the moon that associates with the High Priestess card. And the tarot card for Aquarius is the star. So the star card, I have this here. You see the angel is pouring some water into the pond, and she's also pouring some water onto the land. She has 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on the land. And we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pointed star. Okay, so this is number 17, and it is in this deck. In some decks it might not be, but in this deck, in the Rider-Waite deck, this is the Jumbo Rider-Waite deck, it's number 17, and it is, again, this is associated with the star in this particular deck, and it's associated with the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius, the water bearer. You see how she's bearing the water here, okay? And the musical note in the ancient Western array for Aquarius is A. I'm going to play that for you now. That's the healing note for Aquarius. The information that is found in this document is based on the oral tradition known as Kabbalah, which was taught to me by Rosicrucian clergy when I was but a young girl, the facts of which I've committed to memory. Also, much of the information about star magic was also taught to me through an adjacent German pagan coven, which was established. It had established several satellite covens throughout the world. And I was in an American coven, and I began writing a book based on these extremely important teachings in 1988, which I've entitled to be my Star Magic Grimoire, and I'm sharing a fleshing out of that with you through blogs and videos with you now, and some reference books that you might want to look at that we recommend and that we use, and we're going to give you the page numbers. Again, you can in the blog. I'm not going to say all the page numbers now, it'll take too long, but I'm going to give you the 3 books, and you can look in the description box and get the page numbers for these specific videos, okay? So the first book we want to recommend is Mansion of the Moon, a Lunar Zodiac for Astrology and Magick, 2nd edition, with a 2019 to 2033 Mansion Ephemeris, very important. I look at it every day. It's very important. Written by Christopher Warnock in 2019, illustrated by Nigel Jackson, and published by Renaissance Astrology, again in 2019. Second is the 3 books of occult philosophy, Llewellyn's Sourcebook series, authored by Henry Cornelius Agrippa of Dedisham in 1533, translated by James Freak in 1650, edited and annotated by Donald Tyson in 1993, and published in 2000 by Llewellyn. And we have a lot of Donald Tyson books, which we're going to be sharing. We're going to, go over some of the information we learned from his books as well in some future videos. His books are great. Donald Tyson. Now, also, The Fixed Stars and Constellations in Astrology, authored by Vivian E. Robson, Bachelor of Science, published by American Federation of Astrologers, Inc., cover design by Jack Coppola, and again, that's it was published, I believe, I think it was 1923. I'll have to check on that for you. All right. Thank you for joining us, and join us again.